Hey, 8th grade, so we're going to go ahead and get started on the next section of Chapter 5, that is Section 7. There are some cutouts for this particular set of notes. You'll find them posted on the Google Classroom. So before you get started on this section of notes, make sure you go in, print that out, and cut out the pieces so you can glue them in the right spot. So I'm going to get started. In my notes, we're on Chapter 5. This is Section 7, and we're talking about scatter plots and trend lines. I'm not going to put the date just because you might be looking at this on one day versus another day, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. We are going to do a bit of vocab before we get started. Alright, so first one we're going to do is the word scatter plot. So a scatter plot is a graph that relates two quantities. So they're comparing two quantities, just as we've been doing with basically every coordinate plane that we've been dealing with. We're comparing, time and money. We're comparing height with time. So we're taking two different qualities and comparing them to each other, relating two quantities to each other. And these are mainly going to occur in quadrant 1. Why is that? Well, because most of the time when you're dealing with two quantities in real life, they're both going to be positive. You can't have negative weight. You can't have negative time. So they're mainly going to be occurring in quadrant 1 because both the x and the y in that quadrant are positive. Now, a lot of the times, your scatter plot is not going to represent a straight line. And why is that? That's because people are imperfect. When we measure something, it isn't always exact, especially if you're talking about, something in the scientific field. It's not always going to correlate perfectly, but you can still see, how they relate to each other, like generally. So we're going to take a look at a couple different scatter plots, and we're going to see kind of like how do they correlate to each other. So I'm going to do my first glue in. Okay, there's 3 that I'm going to be putting in here. Here's the first one. So go ahead and either glue or tape that in. Got my glue. Put that in there. Uh-oh. Glue not working. There we go. Alright. So I'm going to glue in all 3 of these, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay. So I've glued in all 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to take a look at these and determine, do these scatter plots have a positive, negative, or no correlation? That means generally, are they going in the positive direction, are they going in the negative direction, or can we not tell what's going on? So if we take a look at this one, do they sit in a nice, neat, straight line? No, they don't. But if we look, as x is going up, so is y. So I can determine from that generally this scatter plot has a positive correlation. Okay, conversely, I can take a look at, I glued in 2 of the same one. Hang on, everybody. I'll be right back.